Farmers, you effed around and you're finding out, didn't you? Farmers F around, find out. They are furious with Donald Trump over this Argentinian bailout. What? Yes, they are furious with Donald Trump over the Argentinian bailout and over Donald Trump's trade policies that have got them into a financial crisis. Here is one quote from Polk County, Iowa. They say, "We are facing financial crisis because of avoiding common sense trade policies, and instead we start trade wars with other countries such as China that are buying in the past our soybeans." What? Yes. Well, hello. Donald Trump did this to you all back in his first term. Why do you expect him to be any different? You know, you do the same thing over and over and you expect a different result. This is what he did and cost you all millions and billions of dollars, and the billions of dollars that he had to bail you out before then, having to do the same thing now. On top of this, he's now sending $40 billion to help bail out Argentinian farmers that are selling their soybeans to China at cheaper prices, and helping his MAGA buddy try to stay in power in Argentina. So
America's dumbest person, the alleged President Donald Trump, bailed out Argentina with $20 billion. But now the America First president is contemplating doubling that to $40 billion. So tell me again how this president is America First. No money for the American people, but $40 billion for Argentina. Yeah, that's what your president's doing, MAGA.
We import from China massive amounts, and maybe we'll have to stop doing that.
The message is we need our government to do their job.
The farmers are going to be making a fortune.
There's a lot of pain going on the countryside right now.
In 2021, China accounted for 60% of the total American soybean exports. The figure dipped slightly in the subsequent years, but China retained its status as the largest buyer of American soybean. Last year, nearly $13 billion of American soybean was bought by China. This year, the trade war has resulted in a massive drop. For the past few months, not one order has been placed from the United States. China, the world's biggest soybean buyer, has turned instead to Brazil and Argentina, locking in more than 2.6 million tons just for the next 2 months. Argentina even suspended its 26% export tax, giving China an irresistible deal and a pointed snub to Washington. The pain in farms across the U.S. is real.
There's a lot of pain going on the countryside right now. As far as I know, for the 2025 crop, they've bought 0 U.S. soybeans. So, yeah, China is definitely going elsewhere to the extent that they can. I assume that at some point they'll buy some U.S. soybeans, but so far it's a goose egg for the 25 crop.
Now, it just started with 20 billion. Now it's 40. And Americans are very furious with the current decision that has been made by the president. And I want us to see these reactions of these content creators and also, creators of these videos. And then later on, I'll be here to be sharing my views concerning it. I'll also share my perspective, but let us first watch what we have here. I welcome you to this platform. If this is your first time in this platform, please do share, like the video, and also subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be grateful for that. Let's jump in.
So let me get this straight. Farmers want a bailout of $50+ billion, but their administration, and I say their because most farmers voted for the Trump administration, has now sent $20 billion to their competitor, Argentina, that produces a hell of a lot of soybeans, and that just signed on the dotted line with China to send them their soybeans from Argentina. So as our American market is cut out, half of our market, our soybean market is collapsed, doesn't exist anymore because China said they're not buying soybeans from us. What are we going to do? I mean, we see that we bailed them out in the first administration. And now we're bailing them out again. But that's the same people, the same party that talks about we don't want to do anything with welfare. We want to get rid of welfare. We want to get rid of any kind of handouts, bailouts. But they keep on getting the bailouts. They keep on getting the handouts. They keep on getting the welfare. So a party that talks about getting rid of these, I don't know, socialist programs, they sure as hell use them a lot. Again, you didn't want to give food to kids for their school lunches. You didn't want to give kids, again, and adults, and parents, a respite from paying those absorbent amounts and educating themselves. You don't want to give people that are disabled health care. So, you explain to me why the rest of America should bail you out. Why do you deserve to be bailed out every single time that Billy needs some new braces? Every time you vote in an administration that hurts your bottom line. Why should we have to suffer? Why should our national debt have to go up to support you? And then we're going to have to keep on doing it over and over again because you guys don't have a market to sell to. And that's the main reason you're asking for a handout. Please, this is specifically to MAGA and Republicans. Explain this to me.
$40 billion. $40 billion bailout to Argentina. You heard me correctly. Trump now wants to give $40 billion to Argentina while screwing farmers, taxpayers, and government workers all at the same time. $40 billion bailout to Argentina. Did you know that the guy that he's giving it to is in the process of being ousted, like in Nepal, what happened in Madagascar? They're literally overthrowing this guy in Argentina. Did you know that they've already gotten billions of dollars from international places, and they're not going to be able to pay it back? They're going to go bankrupt. They're under a dictator. That's why Donald Trump wants to bail them out. But this is an FAFO for farmers who voted for Trump. This is an FAFO for government workers. This is an FAFO for any of you whose programs have been stolen. $40 billion to Argentina. America last. That's the new slogan.
Breaking news, Argentina's bailout has now doubled to $40 billion in taxpayer money. And the Secretary of Treasury, Scott Bessent, says we're working on a $20 billion facility that will complement our swap line with private banks and sovereign funds that I believe will be more focused on the debt market. Well, Trump says we're helping a great philosophy take over a great country. We want him to succeed. This referring to Javier Milei, who's the current president, and he is running to be reelected. Those $40 billion are contingent to Javier Milei being reelected as a president. Otherwise, Trump said that if he loses, we're not going to be generous with Argentina. Now, critics are calling this very un-American mentality because they're using taxpayer dollars to support Argentina instead of military forces. And let's just remember that bailout in between the US and Argentina started very quickly affecting the soy farmers here in the US, because as soon as the US agreed on that initial $20 billion, Argentina dropped their exportation tax fees on soy, and China started buying from Argentina instead of the US. As always, sources are on the caption. Spread the word and follow for more news.
Hey Mainers, President Trump is giving a $20 billion bailout to Argentina. There's at least 3 reasons this is kind of a staggering piece of news, and the third is the toughest to swallow. First, because a $20 billion bailout of another country is the opposite of President Trump's America First philosophy. Second, because President Trump's Treasury Secretary has said openly that the bailout is because Argentina's president, who is an ally of President Trump's, needs a, quote, bridge to the election. His economy is falling apart and his party was just crushed in local elections, so the president's own re-election prospects are in trouble. So President Trump is openly giving Argentina $20 billion of our tax dollars to help his friend win re-election. And somehow that's not even the most startling part of this. The third reason this is staggering is because President Trump's trade war has resulted in China no longer purchasing American soybeans. Literally, China hasn't purchased a single soybean from the US in the last 2 months and has not placed a single order for US soybeans for the coming peak harvest season. Of the $24.5 billion worth of soybeans that the US farmers exported last year, China bought more than half of them, $12.5 billion worth. This is killing US farms, and farmers are feeling panicked and betrayed.
Mr. Trump, you looked at me, sir, and you said, I love you. Mr. Trump, I need to see the fruit of your love.
I just would like to see somebody help us get our markets back. We need our exports, and we just need to be paid for what we do.
But guess who is selling soybeans to China? Argentina. The three biggest soybean producers in the world are the US, Brazil, and Argentina. And last week, Argentina's president, President Trump's ally, slashed its export tax on soybeans to zero. He's taking advantage of China shutting out American soybeans and making it easier for Argentinian farmers to sell their soybeans to China while American farmers are getting screwed. It is indisputable. President Trump is propping up a guy who is helping crush American soybean farmers.
America first! America first! Oh wait, that $20 billion bailout to Argentina is now $40 billion. All while the Republicans are trying to gut Medicaid and healthcare for working Americans, while farmers are sitting there with no soybeans being sold because of Trump's bullshit tariffs. So even MAGA, this is not America first. You have been swindled. You have been lied to.
I've said it before, but it's worth saying louder this time. Trump's most loyal supporters, America's farmers, are getting stabbed in the back in broad daylight. And the latest insult isn't just a paper cut, it's a gut punch. While U.S. farmers are drowning in mountains of unsold soybeans, Trump is opening the floodgates for Argentina to dump cheap exports into the very markets American growers just lost. Call it poetic justice, call it FAFO, but the betrayal couldn't be clearer.
Argentina and Brazil, down in South America, they're our biggest competitor in soybeans and corn. Sometimes they raise 2 or 3 crops of corn. They always raise a big soybean crop. But Argentina is a huge competitor for the United States. We just sent them $20 billion. All the while, they're sending tax-free China 84 million bushels of soybeans. That's 30 cargo ships worth in 2 days' time.
We are being forced to bail out another country's farmers at the expense of our own.
That don't make much sense. That's kind of like wiping before you poop. Why would you help out your biggest competition and hurt yourself with your biggest customer?
Welcome back again, and I understand the frustration because from the word go, the president promised them to, put America first, and they believed that if he was to put America first, it meant like every citizen will be, placed at the forefront. The issues of the citizens will be handled with urgency. But it seems from the look of things, they are, dissatisfied by the decisions that are being made each and every time. I've shown you the video where he had just given them a 20 and now it's 40. And it seems like it's going higher and higher and higher. At the moment, mind you, US citizens who are farmers, most of which who voted for him into office, they're being disadvantaged at the moment. Their soybeans are, getting destroyed in the farms, in the fields, and there's nowhere for them to, present their crops and get, cash in return. But their president is busy, giving Argentina bailout while the citizens really need his help. Now this kinda brings frustration, I would say, and also it brings confusion, because they don't understand, is it Argentina first or is it America first? But they forgot that Trump mentioned America first. He never mentioned Americans first. And that means he meant the policies of America first and not the issues of Americans. That's where, he won. That's where, I think he got them. Because it's all about America as a nation being great and not Americans as citizens being great. And I will see the reactions of some, left wings, and they were saying, we told you this, and we really saw this coming. We really saw you crying, and that's why we were trying to tell you, come on our side and help us, make a difference for every Americans and not a difference for America. But they never listened to them, and that's why you can see a lot of them are crying. They're devastated, they are frustrated, they don't know what to do next, because the so-called savior has turned his back on them. But sometimes I do say, if you really, there's a saying that says, if a child cries for a razor blade, then give her. Yeah, just give it to her. That's when she will discover that it was harmful for me. That's why they never wanted me to have it. I do say left wings really told the rights, you know what, you don't need this, you need something better, something good for you and your kids. Because if the farmers are affected, it means the families of those farm owners are also affected, because maybe there's some who are breadwinners. The kids depend on them, the families depend on them. And now when it's not okay with them, it is also not okay with the entire family. So the left wings wanted the best for everyone, for the families of these farmers, but they never listened. The blade is cutting their flesh. I don't know what you think of this, but sometimes it is always nice and good to listen to people, to listen to what people have to say about you, because you cannot think just by yourself. That's why we have advisors for the president. Yes, the president is very fit for the seat, but he needs someone who can, help him think, because just one brain, it's not enough to make a sober and a good decision. At this point, at that moment, at that time, the lefties were the ones to help them, but they never took heed of their advice. And now the fire that they themselves created is burning them, and it's burning them really, really harshly. I don't know what they're going to do, but I'm hoping maybe their savior, their ruler is going to help them. Their president, the one who was to make them great in their eyes, nor in their perceptions. I hope he's going to intervene, but I don't think so, until when they will have to choose a different leader. I'm your presenter for today, and I'm really grateful that you had to watch to this very end. I'd also like to get to learn from you. Let me understand it from your side. What do you think about this? What do you think now will be the fate of these farmers? Now things are this way. What is going to happen to them? What do you think they need to do? Hit your comment in the comment section. I'll be here so that we may have a good talk about this. I'm really hoping to see you in my next video, but until then, please stay safe, support each other, give a hand where it is needed, extend it where you feel like it is needed. See you soon, man, and watch out. Do subscribe if you've not yet subscribed. Please just leave your subscription. It doesn't cost anything, just your hand and tapping that button that you see there. Goodbye.